Hey everybody, what's up? This is Devin LaVore and
Michelle LaVore
coming at you. And we hope you guys have enjoyed the last videos we done. Well, I guess this is like a video point two. What is it? Like a, because that other video I did was only 2 minutes and 41 seconds.
Oh.
Because it was about the 72.
Oh, yeah.
Because we did the video on the 72 and the 55 about the mercy of God and all that. And it was just awesome. It was about our house, and it was really cool how God was focusing on that. And then I had this confirmation video about like, wow, look at this. This video, the first time we check it, has 72 views. Like, are you serious?
Yeah.
But then on the top, the actual views of it were 100 views 44 minutes ago. And I was just like, what?
Yeah. And
then Carlin, our friend Carlin, oh my gosh, she's just a spectacular human being in general. But she gave us that comment that said 72 plus 72 equals 144.
Yeah, we didn't even put that together.
I seriously, I disintegrated.
Yeah.
God had to put me back together. I was so blown away. I was like, wow, I did not even see that. So it was like, God's been saying 72, 72, 72, 55, 55, 55. Because I think the 22s and the 222 and the 2222s is already established. Like, this is your mantle. This is your authority. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm placing on you in the form of authority.
Yeah.
But then he moved on to other things. Like, okay, now, since you are mantled and you need a place to live.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? You're right, Lord. And the Lord's like, may it be done unto you according to your faith. Whenever someone asked for a miracle, it was like, may it be done unto you according to your faith.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. Yesterday and even today, that has been
a battle.
Full frontal assault on the faith. Because for me personally, I'm just going to be as real and as raw and as transparent and as vulnerable as I possibly can. I'm thinking, okay, this is our 32nd place. Look at how much the cloud is just hovering. We did a whole video of it about the covenant of God and how he's just like, it's like, this is the marriage part. This is the the wedding ceremony. I mean, we were here in this place when the royal wedding took place.
Yeah.
When the royal wedding took place.
Yeah. Which
was a prophetic thing. You can go watch. What was her name?
I can't remember.
Princess Bola or something. She had this crazy video that was just awesome. I was like, wow, I think I did miss the memo on that one. That is significant. But there's a lot of significant changes going on in the world, with the royal wedding and the election of Donald Trump and people like us doing what we're doing. It's like God is so changing things. And of course, there's a lot of other things that are going on. But it's like even what we're doing is a part of this new thing that God is doing, which he's been speaking about for like a year now.
Yeah.
Over a year about this new thing he's birthing and he's doing. And it's like, for us, it's like, we've been on like cloud 9. Or should I say cloud 55? For like the past 4 days. Yeah. But then the past 3 days. But it was like yesterday, man, it was just attack. Attack. And it's like, what is it attacking? It's attacking our faith. And why? Ryan Lestrange came out with a video today talking about soul wounds and how the enemy works in your soul wounds and all that. And we have to break free from mental bondages and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's all fine and good. But sometimes, a lot of times, the enemy does have a landing strip in those areas to really bind you. But a lot of times, the enemy he's just going to attack you. Yeah. You may not have any of that stuff, but he's still going to attack. He's still going to try to make a wound. He's going to try to make an entrance. He's going to try. The enemy is trying to get breakthrough in your life. Yeah. That's why you have to have breakthrough from God in the opposite. You know, you have to be just about what God's doing. Forget the enemy sometimes, But it's like sometimes you can't. We have a certain child right now that when they act up, we can't ignore them. We can't just say, nope, you're just going to go sit in timeout. Well, they go to timeout, they're going to be screaming and freaking out. And no, not normally. I mean, they've grown out of that. But still, there's a you must address me. And it's like there are things that need to be addressed. But it's like a lot of times the way you address that is to focus on the Lord. Yeah. So it's like, so today, it's like we were getting hit pretty hard yesterday, but I feel like we got some traction through it.
By the end of the night.
Yeah. But then now today, it's just like, oh my gosh. I mean, I was to the place where, but anyway, well, let me back up and interrupt myself. and say like, this is the 32nd place we've been, and the 222 and the royal wedding and all these prophetic things. In my heart, I'm thinking the 33rd place is going to be our dream home.
I mean, 33 is a sign,
and
God's
sign and all
said,
that.
like,
yeah. Before we came here,
and
God was like, sign. That entire time at the Sleep Inn hotel, he was like, sign. I'm giving you a sign. I'm going to give you a sign. That's what he was saying. Was talking about the sign. And then we come here, and he's doing all kinds of stuff. He's like, you're standing at the door. You were right at the doors. And he starts speaking to us about all kinds of different things and the mercy. And so I'm naturally thinking, based on the evidence, based on we live by the Rhema word that comes from the mouth of God, I'm like, the 33rd place has got to be it. You know what I mean? It's got to be, you know? And I know that we've done that before and we've missed it and we go, oh man, that didn't happen. But I'm just not feeling it. I'm not feeling like I missed it. I feel like this is what the Lord is saying. And it's like, now, why is that an issue? Because our circumstance doesn't seem like that's what God is going to be doing. It's like, oh, we might have missed it again and all that stuff. But see, that's what the outside is saying. In my spirit and in my heart, I feel like that is what God is saying. So it's like you have to walk by faith, not by sight. And that really kind of transitions into what you've been studying today.
Yeah. So basically, the Lord just he just jumped in, because I was having a really hard time this morning again. And
it was like doubly hard.
It really was.
And the baby might wake up, so
yeah,
be prepared. We are.
Yeah. So God just met with me this afternoon, and I was looking into the rest, because I was just, this whole time it's just not been really, I haven't felt at peace, because when you're getting attacked,
what do you mean this whole time? Since we've been in this hotel room?
No. This whole time being today and yesterday.
Oh, and yesterday. Well, yeah.
So,
because that's what's under attack, right?
Yeah. Today and yesterday has been very much under attack. And one of our subscribers had asked us a question.
Shannon, coming at you.
About...
It was a really good question.
Yeah.
Really good question.
How to enter into the rest.
And she wanted to know, like, I need tips. I need, honestly, Shannon, this kind of video has kind of been inspired by you.
Yeah.
But also inspired by the attack of the enemy.
Yeah. So it's like, so I was reading in Hebrews, and I started in chapter 4, and then I kind of went back through and kind of got a broader picture of what Paul was talking about in Hebrews. So I'm going to read a couple of verses that I feel are key to this topic of rest.
Tips, steps.
So Hebrews 4 verse 3. It says,
you want me to read that?
Yes, actually.
That's a lot for you to read.
It is.
I'm the reader. She likes it when I read.
I'm the listener.
I read all the comments, So, what are we doing? Verse 3?
Verse 3, and then verse 16.
Okay, so, Hebrews 4, verse 3. For we who have believed do enter that rest, in accordance with his declaration that those who did not believe should not enter, when he said, as I swore in my wrath, they shall not enter my rest. And this he said, although his works had been completed and prepared, and waiting for all who would believe from the foundation of the world.
You can stop there for now. But it's basically those who have believed enter the rest. And he's talking about here his wrath that was against the Israelites when they were out in the wilderness. God had performed all these miracles to bring them out of Egypt, performed a massive miracle to have them
cross. Of the lights that would not be seen again until Jesus. Yeah. Basically.
They crossed the Red Sea, and then he's providing manna for them. He's providing water and birds and all this stuff. And yet they still would not believe in him. They would not trust God. Their hearts were hardened. And it talks about in here, it's like, do not harden your hearts when you hear the Lord. And
because that right there, is that not the goal of the enemy? That's totally his plan. Yes. He wants you to question. He's been doing it since the Garden of Eden. Yeah. He wants you to question, did God really say? Whatever you're believing God for, whatever you feel like God's telling you to do or believing for, it's going to take faith. That means you're not going to see it It's in the unseen right
Yeah.
now. You're going to have to believe that God said it. So then the enemy comes along and says, did God really say that?
Yeah.
You know, and then that attacks your faith, and then that then attacks your rest, because your believing is attached to your resting.
Yeah.
And then it's like, if you keep getting hit and hit and hit in the same area, eventually you just give up and you're like, no, I just don't believe.
Yeah.
And because you don't believe, your heart hardens.
Yeah.
And now you're no longer going to allow the Holy Spirit to come in and speak.
Yeah, and I think
And
part
thus
of that,
belief.
yeah, and part of what the enemy is doing, like you said, it's the hardening of the heart. But he's going to pick tender areas, areas of your heart that are already susceptible to what's going on. Like for me, for example, the timing of things. That is a very tender area of my heart. So when I hear even prophetic words, or I hear anything that might rub up against the timing that I think might be happening, my heart can start actually like, I literally can kind of, I feel it, like this, like
The
closing in, where it's like
a turtle going back into its shell.
And it's like, nothing you can say is going to change how I'm feeling. And a lot of times it becomes fear. It becomes, there's a grief, and there's a sadness, and there's just pain there. And it can be really difficult to then open back up to hearing what the Lord is saying.
Because what are you trying to do?
You're trying
to protect yourself.
Protect yourself, and it's like
from pain.
From disappointment. And
because you've taken risks before and things haven't panned out the way you thought, and it wasn't terrible. It didn't turn out the way your fear said it was going to turn out, but it still didn't turn out in the manifestation of the promise or the breakthrough or whatever so-and-so prophesied and whatever so-and-so prophesied and whatever you really believed you were actually personally hearing from the Lord. It didn't turn out like that, and you're going like, well, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah.
It's like, but I kind of have to, because I feel like this is what the Lord's saying, and I'm following Him. So it's like, so it really, it in that process, part of that is you're talking about the process of God stripping away our own self. But even in that, like even when Elisha said to the Shunammite woman, he was like, this time next year, you're going to be embracing a son. That's a timing thing.
Yeah.
It's like you still have to be, you can't abandon the timing thing, or abandon being able to hear from God about timing, but then you can't like throw your own stuff in there as well. So it's like a process, and it's like that can be very disappointing and painful.
Yeah.
So you're trying to protect yourself from it, right?
And so really, like with I think any area that you have weakness and vulnerability, you just have to ask the Lord to help you.
I'll be back.
And it does sound really simple and maybe like cliche, but that is the truth. It's like God is the one person who knows us better than we know ourselves, and He can help us. And
I tried.
All right, so it's been kind of crazy with the baby being awake, but so I'm gonna just finish off the video, and hopefully we won't get into it.
Hopefully He will let us.
Yeah. And so
he's like, did you hear him?
Yeah.
He was like, ha. Okay.
All right. So.
Hey, that way you can read. You can actually read from the Bible.
So,
how about that?
Hebrews 4, chapter 4, verse 11.
Oh,
says,
get your 4:1:1.
Let us therefore be zealous and exert ourselves and strive diligently to enter that rest, that no one may fall or perish by the same kind of unbelief and disobedience into which those in the wilderness fell. And it says, it continues so on, that says, for the word that God speaks is alive and full of power. It is sharper than any two-edged sword, penetrating to the dividing line of the breath of life, the soul, and the immortal spirit, and of the joints and marrow, the deepest parts of our nature, exposing and sifting and analyzing and judging the very thoughts and purposes of the heart. So it really is that entering into the rest has everything to do with our heart, and how, we have the soul, the flesh, and the spirit. They're always in battle. And so entering into the rest really is that having this, the Spirit of God coming in and saying no to the flesh and yes to the Spirit. And so I think a lot of times, for myself personally, it really is a huge saying no to the emotions of what I'm feeling. And it's really difficult.
That's a David and Goliath type of situation.
It is. But it's...
Only this time he brought his 5 brothers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, it's hard.
It's very difficult to sometimes rise above. And even with our son, we've actually been doing a lot lately. He's very much similar to me in that he's very an emotional kind of person. And so...
If only they could see my face right now.
Yeah.
Similar is an understatement. It's an understatement.
He's a little carbon copy.
He's a little mini you.
Yeah. But it's like, but we also have a lot of compassion and
you do.
So
mercy.
But some of the things that we were talking about, we showed him actually a clip from The Matrix.
The Matrix Reloaded.
Reloaded. And so Neo is fighting Agent Smith, and we were telling him Agent Smith is like your emotions. You might have one that comes at you, but he starts gathering all his friends, and they keep coming and coming, and then you're fighting and fighting and fighting, but you're not really getting anywhere. And then they clobber you, and then you're like, like Neo finally just blasts out of there because he doesn't even need to be fighting all of these feelings when he can just take off
into the Spirit.
Yes. And so we were just saying though how that is what we have. We have the power. We have Jesus living inside of us, so we don't have to battle. The flesh is actually dead. I think that is like the Matrix in the sense of a lot of times we still believe that the flesh is alive, that it's alive and thriving in us. But the truth is Jesus nailed that to the cross. But it doesn't mean that we still have the fight against it. And that's the fight of, yes, what God is saying is true, continuing to believe.
Well, and that's the walking by faith.
And not by sight.
By faith, not by sight.
Yeah. And it can be difficult. But I think the key is to continue to trust in the Lord. And another key can be, and what I felt for myself and even for our son, is a lot of time is worship, because it can help get your mind focused back on the Spirit. And there can be something that is just really amazing when it comes to worship, is that I think it can soften the hardness of the heart so that the Lord can come in. And
then that gives you an opportunity to tell him, well, man, Lord, I'm feeling this and I'm feeling that, and I don't like it, and I'm trying to be this, man or woman of faith, and it's just not working.
Yeah.
Or I feel like it's not working.
Yeah.
See?
And that's the truth. Is like feelings don't tell you the truth all the time. It isn't fact. You might, for example, for a lot of women, I feel fat. Well, the fact might be you actually are not fat at all, but you might feel like it, on a particular...
You are 128 pounds. That is not fat.
Yeah. But your mind is telling you feel that way, and it's not true at all. And so feelings don't always tell the truth.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I think when it comes to coming into the rest, you really have to combat that. You have to combat faulty ways of thinking and feelings. And it really is, there is a striving to it. There is a battle to enter into the rest, which the rest is believing the Lord, having faith for what He has said. And when we do have faith, when we do have belief, and you can go beyond that, you really have entered in the rest. You've entered into hearing and believing the Lord. And so I hopefully that helps some. And I definitely would encourage you all to even read through Hebrews 4 and go back even to the beginning of Hebrews and kind of reading through to get a clear understanding of what God is speaking there. Because I think it's just is really good. Like, I definitely gleaned from it today. And but yeah, it is a battle to enter into the rest. But
because there's someone that's trying to steal your bed.
Yeah.
And your blankets and your pillows. How many times you've been laying in the bed with your spouse and they take the blankets? It's irritating. It's like, would you please stop taking... Girl?
Yeah.
But seriously, that's what the enemy's trying to do. He's trying to steal everything. God is actually trying to make you comfortable. Contrary to some popular Christian beliefs, he actually is trying to make you comfortable in him.
Yeah.
And believing in him and resting in what he said. Just rest in him. Because you know what happens when you rest? It's like when God told me, you getting excited is actually a glorious honor to me and an expression of your faith.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with resting. It's like when you're resting in the Lord, it is actually a statement of faith that I believe in who you are and that you are not a liar.
Yeah.
And that you will do what you say you're going to do. Doesn't matter what it looks like or what it feels like. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And actually that kind of just, I think it's funny because we're actually staying in comfort in. And
that's true.
That's really been a lot of what God has done this whole time is he's like, I've like comfort. And that's what you find in the rest. You find his comfort. And another thing that we've actually been seeing.
His integrity and his faithfulness and his promise.
Yeah. And I think what also stuck out to me was in the Hebrews 4 verse 16 is just that you can go to the throne to receive mercy. And once again, God is touching on his mercy. And we've been seeing a ton of 55s today.
Tell what Annalise happened to Annalise today.
Yeah, so she saw 55 like 4 times in a row.
Well, it was like 4 times in like 5 minutes. And it was one right after another.
Yeah.
It was like 55, 55.
Yeah.
And then she saw it again like 5 minutes later, 55, 55, like within seconds.
Yeah.
And it was like,
and so, again, we're seeing this, like, the hands of the Lord. And
you've been seeing it a lot?
Yeah, I saw it a lot, too. It was crazy. I was just like, almost every time I look at the clock, it was something 55.
God's like, don't forget the mercy.
Yeah.
I've been telling you about it for 4 days.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's like, so, you know, and so another way, a step you can take. So I would say one is just go into prayer and ask God to help you. You can start worshiping the Lord.
Help me to believe one more time, Lord.
And then and really praying, and it can be very hard, but it's like just push those down. You know, I had to do that last night. You know, we went into worship, and God really did. He just came in, and it was very soothing and comforting to my own heart. And so then
gave you a little spiritual chiropractic treatment.
Yeah.
It aligned you.
And then today, again, it was like the word of God's coming in, and so then we respond by saying yes to that word and believing that word, and so that is another way, is just praying and declaring the word of God. And so I just hope that encourages you guys. If you have other questions, feel free to put those in the comments below, because we definitely really appreciate.
Or you can always Facebook me.
That's
how Shannon did it. She
or you
can
send a Facebook message, and you know, because I think it's great. I think there are a lot of people who have questions, and so, you know, if there's any time that we can make videos about questions that you have, it's just really cool to be able to do that. So until next time, guys, I will see you later, and hopefully we'll all be back together. Bye.